Hello and welcome to another Behind the Character video series where we dive into the background, lore and theories of much loved video game characters. Now in this video we are looking at Lae'zel, in my opinion one of the most captivating and complex characters in Baldur's Gate 3. Lae'zel, or Bazel as she's often dubbed by her admirers, tends to divide opinion. I'd say most players love her feisty and cutting nature, but others do tend to dislike her coldness. Either way, none can question her deeply complex background, so let's go behind the character. If you're new to the Baldur's Gate world, then Lae'zel doesn't just have a striking resemblance to your mum, she's actually a Githyanki. The Gith are an extremely complex race, and again, only in my humble opinion, but the best race to play as in the game. The Githyanki dwell in the astral plane, having suffered years of enslavement by mind flayers. Eventually, our yellow buddies formed a resistance to the mind flayers' control and rebelled, which caused the fall of the Illithid Empire. In the years that passed, the Githyanki mainly took to raiding parts of the material plane. The dark backdrop surrounding the Githyanki race is why Lae'zel is so anti-Mind Flayer. I mean, all of your companions are pretty anti-Mind Flayer, but Lae'zel showcases disgust at the tentacled fuckers regularly, and in Baldur's Gate 3 is the hardest companion to convince to embrace the Illithid abilities.
I am Githyanki! I will not be gay!
The Gith are also an immensely proud race. They see themselves as superior to any others. Some would even call them racist, and that's probably accurate. Again, this is why Lae'zel is so complex. She's always pretty prickly, even to the Tav, and even if you are a Gith. But if you stick with her and even romance her, you can see a completely different side, unlike most Giths. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to where it all began for Lae'zel. Without turning this video into a biology lesson, Githyankis are hatched, not born the usual way. Githyankis are raised in a place called creches, and Lae'zel was raised in one called Creche Kilir, which is in the tiers of the Soluna in the realm space. After she popped out of an egg like a Kinder Surprise, she was raised like most Githyankis with the purpose of being a fierce warrior, destroying the blight of the Illithids on the world and raiding with her kin, but above all serving and devoting herself to her queen.
My queen, Skathai.
The Githyanki are not religious, but heavily devote themselves towards their Lich Queen, which is the undying queen ruler of the Githyanki race. We meet her in the game. Her name is Vlaakith. Vlaakith is regarded as a descendant of the first Gith and is heralded as a hero of her people, having allegedly freed them from their Mind Flayer captivity. The greatest honour that can be bestowed to a Githyanki is to be chosen to ascend by Vlaakith, but more on that a little bit later on. So after all her training and upbringing, Lae'zel found herself living the life of most Gith until it got turned upside down. Lae'zel fiercely devoted herself to her queen, perhaps more so than most Giths, and embarked on a quest to kill a Mind Flayer and present its head to her queen to earn her favour. It didn't work, and she ended up being captured and on the Nautiloid, which is where our story began. After meeting our Tav and joining our band of merry infected, her new quest became to find a cure for the Mind Flayer tadpole inside her head. All of our group want the tadpole gone, but Lae'zel, given her background and race, perhaps more so than anyone. Now, such is the nature of Baldur's Gate 3, Lae'zel's story can play out in many ways and ultimately comes down to a choice of being loyal or unloyal to her queen Vlaakith.
The deathless queen has spoken. You will obey.
I must warn you at this point, the rest of the video will contain story spoilers for the main Baldur's Gate 3 story. So leave now if you don't want to hear them. Okay, let's go. During Act 1 of the game, our path leads us to a Githyanki creche. Within it, we meet Vlaakith herself, who tells us to enter the astral prison and kill the person inside. This doesn't go to plan and leads to Vlaakith ordering her people to attempt to kill us, and we and Lae'zel are officially named as enemy of the Githyanki people.
Kill them!
Now, I covered the details of this a little bit more in my full story recap, which you can watch on my channel, but essentially this starts off the process of learning about Vlaakith's betrayal. Kithrak Voss, another Gith, arrives at our camp and explains that Vlaakith is a liar and that the true heir of the Gith, Orpheus, long presumed dead, is still alive. Our influence is important here, as Lae'zel can be steered to side with Voss or remain loyal to Vlaakith. Either way, we later learn Voss to be true and find Orpheus himself inside the astral prism. The knowledge of Vlaakith's betrayal deeply hurts Lae'zel, who has spent her whole life trying to appease her queen. This is why Lae'zel is one of the best companions, as you essentially get to experience two completely separate characters. A loyal one in service to her queen, and then a rebel. Spoiler, the rebel is more fun.
I served Vlaakith the whole of my life. Birds fought her battles, yet she names me a Sherlock.
Lae'zel is presented with another moment in Act 3 where she can reaffirm her loyalty to Vlaakith, the condition of which is that she kills Orpheus, which ultimately sets up her ending. She can kill Orpheus, earning her favour with the Queen, in which she is granted ascension. It isn't fully shown, but it is implied that the rumours around ascension are true, and Vlaakith just consumes Lae'zel to further her own power. Either way, Lae'zel is never seen again. Or Lae'zel can free Orpheus, which leaves her ending the game still as a rebel, and alongside Voss and potentially Orpheus, depending on further in-game choices, prepares to go to war with Vlaakith. Now, that's what the game tells us, in black and white, but I like to scour the internet and find some wacky fan theories around characters, and sometimes you can unearth a genuinely well thought out theory. Unlucky Lifeguard 81 on Reddit makes an interesting suggestion, that being that Lae'zel is actually the game's unofficial main character, and probably the most important character you can meet in the game, and I think this does have legs. Every in-game companion's personal story does have a link and connection to the main quest. That's one of the reasons why I think Baldur's Gate 3 is so good, but perhaps none more so than Lae'zel. Her quest is directly tied to Orpheus, who is quite literally the reason that we are not a mind flayer during the game. The Redditor also makes the point that Lae'zel's story has a deep impact on the lore of the Forgotten Realms beyond Baldur's Gate 3, and let's not forget that this game is of course considered canon. The game forces us to meet Lae'zel first. In fact, I think she's the first face we even see in the game alongside the very first Mind Flayer, and if you take away the custom tab and we're forced to choose one of the origin characters as the main character, there's a strong case it would in fact be Lae'zel, maybe closely beating Shadowheart and the Dark Urge. And there is a level of irony in that a lot of people avoid Lae'zel as a companion due to how cold she is early game. I made the same mistake on my first playthrough, but now she's always a regular part of my party, for the role-playing element she adds in terms of the lore, but also over time you just grow to like her. And there you go, a bit of a deep dive behind the character of Lae'zel. Let me know below if she's one of your favourite Baldur's Gate 3 characters. On my channel, you can watch a video of me recapping the whole Baldur's Gate 3 game and also ranking the companions from that game as well. And for more videos like this, please do hit subscribe. Thank you.